I think the mood at the counting centre was, I would say it was rather unpredictable. No one really could tell how the votes were swinging, even in the midst of counting. So it was quite tense, I would say. And the fight was really close. At the counting centre I was at, Tan Jee Say actually came in a very close second to Dr. Tony Tan. So, all of us had higher hopes that, he might have perhaps pushed through. But nevertheless, I still feel that he put up a very good fight, and all of us are very proud of him. And I'm sure that a lot of Singaporeans are also very proud of him for having stood by his political ideologies. And it was this that a lot of Singaporeans could identify with.
Right, Nicole, now you've been keen supporter of Mr. Tan Jee Say during his whole campaigning period now. What has the experience been like for you during these presidential elections compared to the general election which a couple of months ago?
Well, there have been a lot of comparisons made between the general elections and the presidential elections, and for good reason. They happen so close, so near each other. But I think the difference was that for the presidential elections, we were really looking to elect a president, meaning we were really looking to elect a person who could be a unifying figure for all Singaporeans. And in order to be a unifying figure, one has to really understand the kind of diversity that exists in our society. And I think that Mr. Tan Jee Say proved that he understood and he accepted that diversity.
Now, that was... cut me off. Because Tan Jee Say...
So you were the counting agent and the election agent?
No, counting agent. Yeah.
So, is it fair to say, he's conceded defeat?
I'm sorry?
As in, the numbers that you have seen indicate that he will not be the president?
With the numbers that I've seen, it was actually quite a close fight. So I think it was perhaps the voting patterns really showed up very differently in different areas of Singapore. But where I was, it was a very close fight. So, yeah.
Because the tone that you use, to say that you still feel he has put up a good fight, and that seems to indicate that you believe that he probably lost.
They just announced it on CNA, so I guess, yeah.
What do you make of the defeat? So it was a very intensive night of campaigning.
Yeah, I think it was even more intensive because of the fact that it was a four-cornered fight. And in a four-cornered fight, it's not going to be easy. Some commentators were even saying that it would turn ugly, and that was what I was fearful of personally. But I think that it has come through quite smoothly overall. I think that Mr. Tan Jee Say, he really put himself through. He put up a very strong fight. And for him to have gotten this kind of showing in a four-cornered fight really speaks of the fact that there is a substantial number of Singaporeans who are aligned with his political ideology and what he believes is right for the country. And I think, that's important.
Okay. So I believe that you have spoke to Mr. Tan after being the counting agent at one of the centres. Can you tell us how is he feeling now? Is he disappointed, or how is he taking the defeat?
I guess he would be quite tired right now. It's not easy campaigning. I know I've been there, done that. So, I think it's not easy for him. It hasn't been easy, but like I say, I think he has put up a very strong fight. We told him that we are all very proud of him, and I think it's time for him to get a good rest, spend more time with his family, get back into the swing of a normal life. Yeah.
What do you think could have been lacking to give him the final push for him to perhaps take the win?
I think that observing the voting patterns, it seemed that there was quite an even split between certain political ideologies. It seems that this time around Singaporeans were voting according to political ideologies. So I wouldn't say that he really lost outright, but it's just that the numbers varied, and how do I put it? It was quite an even split. It was just unfortunate that he got a smaller share of it. Yeah.
Do you think that his background as an opposition member could have attributed to some of that defeat?
It's really hard to say, because I also think it depends on whether Singaporeans would have perceived him as a unifying figure as well. But as we have seen from the results this time round, I think even if we look at the final count, it will probably show that the votes were rather evenly split, across three of the main candidates that stood. So, I wouldn't say that, that's an indication that Singaporeans were looking out for something over another. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's interesting that you brought up political ideologies, because a presidential race should be apolitical by nature.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely apolitical by nature, but if you look at the slate of candidates that came out, it was quite obvious that each one of them had their political inclinations, perhaps one was definitely more pro-incumbent, one was tried to take a very moderate middle ground kind of stance, and perhaps, Tan Jee Say came across as slightly more diverse in his views. So, I think that was it.
Okay. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you very much.